We're joined now in studio by Vicki Brackens. Vicki is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of Lincoln Financial Advisors Corp., member SIPC. And of course, Vicki is joining us, as she does each and every week, as a great supporter of Inspiration for the Nation, to talk about making some money, making that paper, information that will help you do the very best that you can in your life. So Vicki, and let me remind people, Vicki gets a little out of hand if she starts talking too much, jargon. This is called the jargon bell. So if you hear this bell, Vicki has to back up and keep it real. Hey Vicki, how you doing?
Good morning, George. How are you?
I'm doing great. So what's on the plate for today?
Well, today on the plate, we're going to talk about growing the pie. I thought that it would make a lot of sense for us to go back and connect some of the concepts that we've talked about over the last couple of weeks and add a few new ones so that we can grow talk about the things that are necessary for increasing our net worth. So I want to go back first of all to a concept that we had a few weeks ago called savings versus investing. And for everyone, if you will remember, one of the tools that we use is Investopedia.com. So remember to go back to Investopedia.com to review some of this information. But anyway, we were looking at savings versus investing because unfortunately it's used interchangeably a lot. And when doing so, we forget one of the primary concepts, which is the fact that risk is involved in investing. And we need to really have a heart-to-heart talk with ourselves about our capacity for risk and how we tolerate risk. What we're looking at as far as liquidity, how much access do we need to have to the funds that we have? So when we talk about savings versus investing, I want everyone to use this as a rule of thumb. Investing is designed to be treated as for something that is a lot less liquid, and saving is designed for emergencies. And we know emergencies are going to come up.
Yes, they are.
Things come up all the time.
All the time.
Look at savings for emergencies and also for purchases that have to take place within, say, 1 or 2 year period. Those funds never need to be tied up. They need to be as liquid as they possibly can be. You were about to ask me a question.
Well, I was just going to reiterate that we're talking about savings.
Okay. So the next thing, though, is as far as investing is concerned, investing is about the long-term goals that we have. And when I talk to individuals about investing, one of the things I always say is, what's the goal? And you remember last time we talked about what's important about money to me?
Yes.
We're going to get to that subject for you, George.
Okay.
But what's the goal? If the goal has a end point that I cannot miss, meaning my kids' education, and that education has to start in the next 2 years, that's a savings goal. That is not an investing goal. But if the goal is 5, 6, 7, 10 years of down the line, then we have time for using the great principles involved with investing to increase the capital that we have to a level that we could not get if we were just using a straight interest rate in our bank account.
One of the terms that you talk about comes up right here.
Okay.
Because you say savings versus investing. And often you hear the term, I'm investing in my kids' education.
Okay.
Talk to me,
all
right?
So,
don't you hear that all the time?
I do hear that all the time. So when you say I'm investing in my kids' education, that could mean 1 or 2 or possibly 3 things. It could mean I am investing in the time and the socialization and things of that nature
right.
so that my kid is prepared.
Right.
It could also mean that I am taking capital, taking money, and putting it in a place for my kids' education. But here's the question. When do you need the money?
Right.
If you started in the 11th grade to save or to invest in your kids' education, you cannot afford to invest. The only thing you can do is save because you need it in less than 12 months.
Correct.
If the kid is 5 years old and you're investing for your child's education, then you have time for investing because you have a long time period that will allow you to take some of the risk necessary and to apply the proper processes for a good investor. So you have to look at where are we in that time schedule as far as the goal and when the goal has to be accomplished. Okay. The next thing I want to go back to, though, is net worth. And you say, well, Vicki, why are we doing this again? Well, I want to tell you in just a second, okay? definition, assets minus liabilities equal net worth. What was our number one goal? George, you remember?
I'm trying to think. What was my number one goal?
Grow it every year.
Yes, I remember that.
Okay.
It's coming back to me.
Okay, grow it every year. We added to the net worth statement assets, but assets also included human capital, which were our skills and the abilities that we have and the innovation, plus assets minus liabilities equals net worth. Well, this week I'm going to add one more thing. The one more thing is the definition around assets.
Okay.
Tangible versus intangible.
Stuff I can put my hands on and stuff I can't really put my hands on.
Right, okay, so most people don't think about intangible things as being something that is truly an asset. We think about our cars, those are tangible, our houses, the land, all of those types of things. But we also have intangible assets. Things like stocks and bonds. You can't really put your hand on a stock, can you?
No, you really can't.
Okay, or a bond. It's a representation of something else. Your
Right.
insurance is a representation. Notes and patents and trademarks are all representations. You can invest in both tangible and intangible assets, but you must really understand what the value is of both if you're trying to build your net worth. By the way, your reputation and your trustworthiness are an intangible asset that have great worth. They're valuable to you and your net worth. That is exactly what your credit score is measuring. Your trustworthiness, your ability, okay.
Will you pay it back when you say?
Will you pay it back? But that is an asset, and I
Right.
think everyone
FICO
forgets that, my credit score, my FICO score is an asset that I have to protect. All right, then, so let's put these two concepts together because there's something that ties these together, and that is your lifetime earnings potential. For most of us, our ability to earn a living drives everything that we do. Sounds simple, but it really is underestimated, and it's an underestimated concept because most people don't realize that when you go to work, and from almost every person in this community, when they go to work and they start working in their careers, let's say they're 20, 21 years old, they're already a millionaire. Did you know that, George?
I did not know that.
Okay, why?
Well,
you don't have to be Yolanda Vega, believe me, okay, to become a millionaire. I want everyone to go to
Yolanda Vega, the New York State Lottery lady.
Okay, I'm sorry. The New York State Lottery,
Yeah.
Yolanda Vega, that one.
Yolanda Vega.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, I want everyone to go to this website, www.calculators.org. Again, www.calculators.org.
I'm ringing the jargon bell on
Tell me why.
You don't have to say www dot anymore.
Okay, then fine. I'm old school. Calculators.org.
Thank you.
Okay. Use this tool to calculate your lifetime earnings. I took an example. Recent college graduate. In fact, today I'm going to give a look. I was working with the Synergy program. You're familiar with there at the Vision Center?
Where my daughter is employed, yeah.
Exactly.
Hello.
Okay. I've worked with the students
Interning or
there
whatever it is you're
for the last 3 weeks. Okay, and we were talking about lifetime earnings and calculating lifetime earnings. So I said, you know what? If you're a recent graduate, you're probably going to earn somewhere around $40,000 coming out as far as a recent graduate. And when you take all professions and average them out, you're roughly 21 years old. You're probably going to work till you're 65. You'll probably get somewhere around an average of 2% increase per year. How much will you earn by the end of that career? Well, the number is $2,780,106. That's
before
a lot
taxes
of money.
and withholding,
Taxes.
all of that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actual gross income.
And you don't have a car, a house, a note, or kids.
No. That's just what you earn. Here's the point. Okay?
Right.
In order to create wealth,
Yes.
or to create riches, we have to look at something called your wealth ratio. Here's how these things tie together. Your lifetime earnings divided by your net worth, which is basically how much you've retained, is your richness ratio or your wealth ratio. Right now, if you stopped and thought about it and sort of page back and sort of calculated how much you've earned over your lifetime and divided it by your net worth, you're going to come up with a percentage. That's the ratio number. For many of us, it may be 10 or 20%. We want as a goal, minimally, to have a good, stable retirement and to be able to handle all of your obligations as far as educating your children, et cetera, you need to aim for a wealth ratio, a retention ratio of 50%.
What does that mean?
Cling, ding, cling, 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 cling. Okay, here's what it means. If I've earned $750,000 over my earnings lifetime so far, and I net worth statement and it's only $150,000, then I have roughly a 20% ratio retention, how much I've been able to capture.
Right.
That means that it's going to be difficult for me going forward if I'm trying to live a sustainable retirement in the future.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Or if I'm trying to educate my children without going into a lot more debt. Understand this, without going into a lot more debt. So everyone asks, said, Vicki, how do you really become rich? Let me tell you how it happens. You need to have a retention ratio of 1,000%. You say, how is that possible? Well, the way it's possible is the earnings that I have that come through my hand, I have to have that capital multiply above and beyond what the original principal was. And to do that, you have to invest. And that's the reason investing takes place, because we are now taking capital that we originally had and having it and leveraging it to a bigger value than it originally was. Savings only won't do it. Investing and taking risk will give you the opportunity to do so. Well, George, I think I'm going to stop right here.
Yeah, I was speechless today because I was listening.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
I'm going to stop right now because I think our plate is full, but I want to remind everyone that I believe this is the last week
Yes, it is.
of our theme song contest. To remind everyone, if you send in an entry next week, we're going to have a vote. We're going to have that posted or broadcast so you can vote on which theme song you think we should use for this segment. The winner gets to go to lunch with me. We'll have an hour to talk about your finances together without fee. I'm looking forward to finding out exactly who the winner is going to be.
Vicki Brackens is the president of Brackens Financial Solutions Network, LLC, and a registered representative of Lincoln Financial Advisors Corp., member SIPC, and a great friend of Inspiration for the Nation. Thank you so much, Vicki.
Thanks a lot, George.